Will Judy and Nick finally have pups in Zootopia 2? So who will be the big villain in the next film of the Animal City? Exciting times are definitely ahead, especially after Disney confirmed what everyone suspected and was hoping for, a sequel to Zootopia. And, as usual, we've investigated everything about a romance between Judy and Nick, along with many other things we've gathered and brought to you today. Tell me, which name do you think would be better for the species resulting from the crossbreeding of a fox and a rabbit? A foxit or a rabbix? Leave your thoughts in the comments so we can find out. Share your opinion because it's almost certain that one of these two names would be given to the new species if Judy and Nick do become a couple, which seems highly likely to happen. And we're not the ones saying it, but the directors of the movie, Byron Howard and Rich Moore, have commented on it. In an interview, the duo stated, "We have to address the question of what Nick and Judy's relationship is like. Will it be romantic, or will it remain a friendship? And those who ship them will go crazy." And let's be honest, the first movie left a series of hints that there was indeed a real possibility of something more between the reformed fox and the disciplined bunny cop. For these reasons, and more, many people really shipped the duo as a couple. Who didn't think? What would their offspring be like? Another issue that Zootopia addresses is discrimination between species and different types of animals, such as predators and prey. Therefore, it may be an approach in the next movie to show how there could be discrimination related to a romance between two animals of a different species, like Nick and Judy, especially since one is prey and the other is a predator. Interestingly, many people talk about how this has already happened and worked out well in an anime series on Netflix called Beastars, which has a world very similar to that of Zootopia, where animals live in a human-free world. And in this anime, the protagonist is a wolf who falls in love with, guess what? A rabbit. Yeah, if it worked in the anime, why couldn't a predator-prey couple work in Zootopia, right? In fact, there was a scene that was supposed to appear at the end of Zootopia, but ended up being cut, where we see Nick and Judy arriving at Judy's apartment, and her parents are there, and they realize that Nick is her boyfriend. And if that scene didn't make it into the film, who knows? It will probably be used in the next movie as a starting point for the friendship between the two now police officers to evolve into a romantic relationship and, who knows, a future marriage. Speaking of weddings, something that could very well appear and happen in Zootopia 2 would be Flash's wedding, as he proposed to his girlfriend in one of the 6 episodes of Zootopia Plus, released in 2022. This is directly related to the ending of the Zootopia movie, where Judy and Nick confront Flash for driving too fast with his girlfriend and giving a ride to Sam, who needed to get to Gazelle's show. Of course, Nick and Judy would be at the wedding, and the most widely accepted theory is that during the wedding, they would receive an emergency call since they are police officers. The call would involve a tremendously large crime that would be committed by, most likely, a globally famous thief who could be an anti-hero or antagonist in the film. And yes, we have a very good and well-founded theory about who this thief and anti-hero would be, and we'll tell you soon. Just wait a little bit because first, let's talk about, since we mentioned Gazelle, the biggest pop star in Zootopia, let's talk about the environment where she would officially reside, according to the directors. In Zootopia, it was evident that the city is divided into distinct habitat neighborhoods where animals of different species, similar sizes, and similar biomes coexist. For example, there's the miniature neighborhood where all the small animals live, like Frou Frou and her group of friends, along with other rodents. But we all know that there is also the desert neighborhood, Sahara Square, as well as Tundra Town, the neighborhood for animals adapted to cold habitats. Apart from these, there are other neighborhoods too, such as Savannah Central, which appears on the city map and captures Judy's awe with its lush vegetation and greenery. However, there is a strong possibility that one of the neighborhoods will receive significant prominence, Sahara Square. And there's a compelling reason for that to happen in Zootopia 2, a statement from the directors. In the same interview where they discussed the romance between Nick and Judy, they mentioned that a scene they created would be further explored in the film, but wasn't included. They said the following: "There's a part in the film where the train goes through Sahara Square, and Judy looks at this enormous palm tree hotel. And that palm tree hotel, we really designed it carefully." They continued, "We designed the lobby, the interior, and Gazelle had a suite at the top of the hotel. It was a super luxurious space in the style of Dubai, which would be an incredible setting in the future." They also mentioned the dune houses that the creative team developed, but weren't used, suggesting that they might get their deserved spotlight in the future. This would be the perfect setting for Judy and her partner, and perhaps boyfriend, Nick, to embark on their next investigations and uncover a robbery involving Gazelle and something of great value, carried out by a villain or thief. How about you? Are you a Zootopia fan just like us? If so, leave a comment with #Zootopia so we know we're talking fan to fan. You may not know this, but originally the initial idea for Zootopia was for Nick to be the protagonist, and all predators would have shock collars that would give them an electric shock if they got agitated. Judy, on the other hand, would be a supporting character who would help Nick at some point to solve the issue of the shock collars. However, Disney found the plot a bit too dark. They ended up developing the idea of Judy as the main protagonist and Nick as a supporting character, which turned out to be incredibly successful and simply excellent. However, when Nick opens up to Judy, we catch a glimpse of his past, and many questions are left unanswered. For example, we can see that Nick lived with his mother, who made an effort to buy him a scout uniform so that his classmates would later play that cruel prank on him. But what's interesting is that at no point do we see or hear any mention of Nick's father, which leaves a character unaccounted for. This is where a theory comes in that makes perfect sense. Since Nick and his mother live alone, it's likely that his father is in prison and hasn't been part of his son's life. There is a concept in Zootopia that foxes are not trustworthy, and there is a reason for that because they are great at pulling off scams, just like Nick and his small accomplice used to do, and probably many other foxes as well. And one of those foxes would be Nick's father, who would be an expert thief. Many years after being incarcerated, he somehow, perhaps against his will, gets involved in the case that Judy and Nick are now investigating together, likely involving Gazelle and the super luxurious hotel in the desert neighborhood of Sahara Square. Therefore, as Nick has all the skills, he would be the main investigator, unraveling the trail of the theft of something very precious. This is something that would definitely work well in the plot of Zootopia 2, finally introducing Nick's father and exploring a bit more of the fox's past as a police officer and Judy's partner. It seems that Zootopia was going through a kind of political crisis, as both Mayor Lionheart and the mayor's assistant, Bellwether, were arrested for different reasons, but the fact is that the city needs a new person in charge. And from the looks of it, the political environment indeed has issues even in the world of animals. This is because initially, the villain of Zootopia would also come from the political sphere, Mayor Swinton. She would be a pig obsessed with having a perfect face and would intend to dominate Zootopia as a dictator. This concept was inspired by Napoleon, an authoritarian pig from the book Animal Farm, and even had an animated adaptation in 1954 that told the story. The fact is that she could very well appear in Zootopia 2 and be the mastermind or the head behind the crimes involving Nick's father in some way. Perhaps she may not be the mayor, as in the initial idea for the first film, but she could be behind some dirty power play. Another character who could very well appear and be an accomplice of Swinton is one of the individuals responsible for the cruel plans of Bellwether in the first film, who ended up not being arrested and thus is free to do mischief. We're talking about Doug, the ram who was the chemist responsible for developing the serum that made predators aggressive, and at the same time, he was an expert dart shooter with the serum. He could also assume different roles, like when he posed as a reporter who asked Judy if the only ones who could go savage were the predators. So the possibility of Doug escaping and appearing to seek revenge in the next film because Judy and Nick ruined his scheme is very, very high. It's practically certain that both original voice actors, Jennifer Goodwin for Judy and Jason Bateman for Nick, will return to lend their voices to the original versions of the two main characters. Jennifer Goodwin is known for her role as an actress, and Jason Bateman is famous for his participation in various comedy films. When announcing the sequel to Zootopia, Disney Pixar also announced the releases of Frozen 3 and Toy Story 5. And among the dates that the company revealed during their announcement event for upcoming productions, only 3 dates are still open and not directly related to any film. These 3 dates are in November, but in different years, 2024, 2025, and 2026. Since 2026 will likely be the release of Toy Story 5, which requires more preparation, that leaves the other 2 dates for Zootopia 2 and Frozen 3. So there's a chance that Zootopia 2 will be released in theaters as early as 2024. All we can do now is keep our fingers crossed, hope, and wait. But without a doubt, all Zootopia fans are excited about the new film, that's for sure. For now, that's all we know about Zootopia 2. Do you have any theories or any characters you'd like to see in the next film of the Animal City? Comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Until next time, bye-bye!